Hi guys, it's trainer Jason here. Just wanted to give you all a little bit of a look behind some of the rehab stuff that I'm doing. I'm currently in week 2. The back's feeling pretty good now. Still not 100%, still a long way to go, but just thought I'd give you a sneak peek at some of the stuff I've been doing.
Okay, so first up I do a bit of a warm-up with some mobility work. Here I'm starting with some hip rotations. I'm really trying to loosen up the hips as well as the lower back with these ones. The next one I'm coming up on all fours and then doing some rotations for my upper back. Very similar to the hip rotations, but this time opening up my shoulders. Here I'm really trying to open up my chest, while making sure to keep my hips as square as possible and keeping my core nice and strong. The next mobility stretch is very similar to the last one, really trying to get movement into my upper back. Again, I'm keeping the core nice and strong while flowing through the movement in a controlled, deliberate manner to help protect the spine.
So after the warm-up, go into some weight stuff, nothing too strenuous, mainly just a lot of machine weights where my core, my back's supported. Still building up to the free weights, but again, like I said, still a long way to go. So here's some of the stretches that I do after the main workout.
As you can see here, I'm doing an elevated pigeon stretch. A lot of the stretches I'm doing are helping to loosen up the glutes, piriformis, quadratus lumborum, and well, most of the muscles that are connected to the spine to help take the pressure off it, because a lot of my muscles around the area of the spine are really tight at the moment. Next is the seated upper back stretch. With this stretch, I'm also focusing on keeping my core nice and strong by sucking my stomach in. This next stretch is very similar to the mobility work I did earlier, only this time I'm holding the stretch with my arm extended, also still focusing on keeping my core nice and strong. This one is the popular lying trunk stretch. Again, a good stretch to hit the glutes and the lower back all in one. Now you're seeing just a basic hip stretch. The reason I'm doing this one is because my left hip is tighter than my right one, so I need to pay close attention to the left side. Once the hips have evened up, this will improve my squatting technique and control, which will in turn help my lower back once I can start squatting again. This is another pigeon stretch, this time on the floor, just for a little bit of variety. Next is a seated glute stretch, followed up by a seated pretzel stretch. These two stretches flow well together, and again are perfect for targeting my hips and my lower back. Then to finish, I have my little yoga style sequence. This consists of starting in a downward facing dog, flowing to a runner's stretch, rotating the arm up and twisting the upper back, holding this position for a count, then twisting to the other side for a count. I then bring both hands back to the floor, go back to the downward facing dog, and then repeat the sequence with the other leg forward. These stretches once again give a little variety to my upper back rotational stretches, and also stretches out the legs at the same time, making this final sequence very effective in my rehab.
And that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of my rehab so far. Hopefully by the third session I'll be able to build up to some other stuff, but I'll let you know how I go in the coming weeks.